Man Grognard here, back again. Before we get started, I want to do a little quick shout out to a certain Kickstarter that is out there. Give a little plug for it. It's done by John in Bogalusa, Louisiana. I always seem to find Kickstarters that are in Louisiana. It's interesting. But anyway, he's doing one called Morgalad. It's a fantasy role-playing game, a D6 based fantasy role-playing game. Very easy, very simple to use. They are, as of this recording, they have 9 days to go on their Kickstarter. The $1,500 is the goal, and it looks like a very good setting and very good system. They do have a playtest and preview packet out there that you can download from the Kickstarter site if you want to look at it. And the levels are very reasonable. It starts at $1. Most of them usually start at $1, but this one goes up to $100. So that's not bad. Also, they do have stretch goals that they were going to be doing. Several stretch goals. Because if they hit like 2,500, everybody gets a PDF version of the solo adventure. They have 2 books out, the main book and the starter book. The starter book is kind of like the D&D 5th edition starter set, something like that, and the main book has the full rules. And different levels, different tiers get different, either get the PDF or the physical rules, printout rules, or they get both, or, you can see it on there. They're also running a contest right now. If you like them on Facebook, they do have a Facebook page, or share them, or comment, or all 3, and you pledge $1, they will put you in a drawing for that tier, and somebody in random will get a signed copy of the core rule book, and somebody else will get a signed copy of the starter book, just for a thanks. Anyway, it looks like a pretty good Kickstarter, and check it out. Like I say, it's Morgalad actually, Morgalad. I'll give you the link when I put this up. Anyway, let's get to the meat of this. Now, what I want to talk about today is DMing away from home. Now, at home, you got all your stuff, no problem, I also want to talk about DMing, say people are hanging around and says, why don't you run a game? Or they call you up or something like that. And what I mean away from home is like at a convention, at a library, in a restaurant, in a bar, at another person's home, things like that. What you should bring with you, a DM kit, basically. I have a hard time with this because I always tend to over prepare, I take too much stuff. Last time I ran Mutant Future, I must have taken like half my game library with me, just in case. Well, don't worry about just in case, okay? Here's what I pared it down to. The rules, of course. The players can get away with not having the rule books, but you gotta have the rule books. I'm sorry. The adventure or adventures you have written or bought and prepped for, all the prep, a DM screen, dice, of course, a mat, some kind of mat, battle mat, things like that, something with hexes on it or grid. Minis or tokens. I'll get back to this in a minute. Post-it notes, index cards, and that pretty much will keep you going. Oh, and I personally add one more thing, which DMs should work on. You may not have this right away, but you should work on it. This is my DM reference book right here. This has got stuff that I have printed out or found other places. Even got some blank hex paper in there just in case. Once again, it's got treasure tables from other games and other places on the internet. Go on the internet, find this stuff out, print them out, make a book like this. I've got pre-generated characters here. I've got a copy. I made a copy of the PDF of the Shady Dragon Inn. I put in there plot starters, ideas, things like that, and other charts and miscellanea right here. That will help, especially if you're in the middle of a scenario session and you're stuck. You start relying on that. Also, you know what? If you're playing D&D, any kind of old school D&D, it's best no matter what version you're using, or even if you're using 4th or 5th edition, you should bring the 1st edition Dungeon Master's Guide. There's a wealth of information back there, if you guys don't know. you don't already know about the appendixes, things like that. You can generate dungeons off the back of that, out of the back of that, things like that. That some of you younger, gamers don't know. Okay, let me get back to, I said minis versus tokens. Minis, tokens. Well, I like minis, and they add a lot to the game, I think. Minis, dungeon pieces, things like that. But I'm lazy. I've got minis I've never painted. I got a bunch of minis I've never painted, and paints and everything. They're drying out just because I can't really get myself sit down and do it. But what I can do is make tokens. Now, one of the this is not really the saving grace, but one of the best things that came out of 4th edition is tokens. Token representations of your characters. They even had generic ones that said monster or PC or something like that. That helped. Well, I made my own. These are tokens that are made out of 1-inch fender washers. And I have like PCs here. There's some monsters. And you ask me, Grognard, where do you get like the pictures and stuff from this? Well, guess what? These are old magic cards. See? That's one way to do it. Another way is cruise around the internet and figure out how to, you probably want to Photoshop this and stuff, get pictures off the internet. These are out of the old 2nd edition monster manual. That's a goblin right there, a goblin shaman, I believe. I also make a lot of blanks. Blanks are good. If you're short, say you're short a skeleton, or a player doesn't like what you have for PCs, they can take a blank and put it whatever it's like. Here's one from my grandson's Champions game, where they made just symbols of their superhero logo and used them. Because those are perfectly fine. I can not recommend this. I recommend this really highly. Okay. You get these. I go to Office Depot because I don't have a color printer and have them printed out on cardstock, and I glue them onto fender washers that you can get for about $10 per 100 at, like, I get mine at Ace Hardware. You can go to you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever, some kind of hardware store. You can find these 1-inch fender washers. If you need something bigger, they have bigger washers. You can make bigger pictures. I haven't done it yet. I'm actually buying some from another person of the old 4th edition tokens, which have like the bigger ones for like dragons and giants and things like that. But I can't recommend these highly enough. I love these things for a lazy ass person like me. Anyway, that's my tips for this time. And also, one more thing. Pre-gens, I've said it before, pre-gens. On my spare time, I make pre-gens and put them in here. It's separated by class because I'm doing basic D&D on my basic D&D card, which you can see better in this episode because I changed the lighting. And I do these in my spare time, so if I don't have the book, I always got pre-gens right here in different levels, things like that. I usually keep it low, like 1 to 5, something like that, because that's usually what I run, levels 1 to 5. I also, if you got the PDFs of like the Mentor Basic, or even if you scan the book or the Holmes D&D, if you're doing basic, print out the dungeons. There is a sample dungeon in each of them, and if you got neophytes who want to learn about D&D, which I love, I pull one of those out. I know it. I've got everything written down on it. I'm jotting down, like, looky here. I'll show you. This is the Holmes dungeon right here that I printed out. Still got a problem with there. This is the Holmes dungeon. And see, I've highlighted, what happens in the rooms and stuff. And I made, in the margins, I made monster stats. So if I don't have my monster sheet, which is always in my reference book, if I don't have the monster sheet, I just write it down here and go for it. I can do it right on here, whatever. It's great. Just keep this in your kit. Keep these in your kit. So you always have a little something to run. And, I can find that I can ad lib off of those. You know, if they want to keep going, I can, you know, like, okay, let's take a break and grab the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide or some equivalent that you have, start rolling or start picking, and just like continue the dungeon. You know, just do it off the top of your head. Make those rolls, make those encounter rolls. Anyway, that's what I got this time. Don't forget the Morgalad Kickstarter that's going on right now, and I'll have more later. Bye bye.